And now, it's Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on CL 650. Now broadcasting from the Barber & Co. studios. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
Vancouver Whitecaps pick up 2 players in the first 2 rounds of the MLS Super Draft, including a center back and a forward. Andy O'Brien won't be back with the Caps this year, but Diego Rodriguez will. A 6'2" Uruguayan center back is here with the Whitecaps and ready to start the season. Canadian Kyle Larin went first overall in that Super Draft after Orlando City FC selected the youngster. And, well, looks like BC Place might be getting some new turf. Some topics of discussion on the program tonight. Good evening and welcome to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on CL 650 Radio in Vancouver as we broadcast from the Barber & Co. studios. My name is Tyler Green. You can find me on Twitter at TylerGreenFC. Also available online at CL650.com. Thank you for listening or perhaps watching as we've got the live stream going at CL650.com. The first half kickoff is brought to you by KO Kevin O'Toole and findaproperty.ca. Kevin has just sold 2 properties in the last week. Yeah, that's what Kevin does. He gets it done, and that's what he can do for you. He can get your home sold with no hassle. He also has a new condo listing in West Van available. Find all the details on whether to get Kevin selling your home or that West Van property at findaproperty.ca. That's Kevin O'Toole, licensed realtor with Royal LePage Sussex, online at findaproperty.ca. We'll get into the starting 11 in just a few minutes. My co-host Simon Fudge and I will debate a few topics revolving around the MLS Super Draft. Where will we see Tim Parker and Kay Banjo this season? Those are the 2 players the Whitecaps picked up in that draft. Is Kyle Larin going to be a superstar or perhaps a bit of a bust? Canadian national teams will also be a major focus because, well, the men, the women, and the U20s have all been in action over the last week. And, well, we're going to talk about it because it's been kind of good, bad, and ugly, I guess you could say. And speaking of, well, good, bad, or ugly, leads us to our Barber poll tonight. It is presented by barberandco.ca, and it's a fairly simple one. Do you like the alleged new Vancouver Whitecaps FC jersey? Various websites posting a photo of what could be the new Whitecaps kit in 2015. So far, in my memory, I could be mistaken, but we have seen a brown jersey get unveiled early, and, well, it pretty much looked exactly like it did. We saw the last version of the Whitecaps jersey unveiled early on social media, and that one pretty much exact replica. So I'm kind of going with the assumption that this is, in fact, going to be the Whitecaps jersey in 2015. You can see it at tylergreen.org, and you can vote there as to whether or not you actually like that jersey. Is it something that you like? Is it something you love? Is it bad? Is it terrible? Let us know. Right now, terrible leading the way. 31% of the pollees saying it is terrible, 28 saying it's okay, 20 saying it's bad, 9% like it, 7% love it, and 2% kind of a little undecided. So vote at tylergreen.org. And, of course, you can always tweet us your thoughts with the hashtag BarberPoll on Twitter at SoccerTalk650, at TylerGreenFC, at SimonFudge74. And, of course, you can always weigh in and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/SoccerTalkVan. The Barber Poll is brought to you by Barber & Co., Gastown, Yaletown, the Financial District, Cambion 18th, and on the corner of Main and 12th. Find them on Twitter at Barber & Co. or visit barberandco.ca. Simon looking super fresh tonight with that haircut. You can see the haircut at our new at CL650.com. But he went to the Canby location, saw Jason. I saw Jason a few weeks ago and got a hot shave. Simon went for the haircut. barberandco.ca to book yours. We'll hear from Whitecaps head coach Carl Robinson tonight on the program. Our colleague in Philadelphia, Jonathan Tannenwald, he spoke with Carl Robinson and sent us the interview to use on the program tonight, so we thank Jonathan for that. And, well, you know what? We might get a surprise phone call from Jonathan as well. He might just give us a call tonight. We'll see. He's kicking around. He's still up. He might weigh in on the program as well. Plus, we're going to hear from first-round pick Tim Parker. And judging from what I've heard from him so far, I like what I've heard from him. So we'll hear from both those, Robinson and Parker, in the second half of the program. Plus, of course, we've got the substitutes of the starting 11 coming up. All that in the second hour of the program. Get into Kia Vancouver for the 8-year celebration. Every new vehicle in stock is on sale. There's a bonus. Every new vehicle purchase gets a free new car buyer's package, which includes a complete lifetime oil change, car wash, an airport shuttle and parking service, and a Kia rewards card. That's at Kia Vancouver, BC's #1 Kia dealership. Find them at 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon or online at KiaVancouver.com. All right, the starting 11. That is up next as my co-host and Goal.com writer Simon Fudge and I, we debate it. The starting 11 is next.
Follow us on Twitter at SoccerTalk650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on CIL 650.
What do you want?
A balcony so high it looks down into soccer matches at BC Place.
A pub I can walk to with a dozen big screens.
Kevin O'Toole has created findaproperty.ca to help you find it. Designed to be simply straightforward, findaproperty.ca is an invaluable tool. That's Kevin O'Toole, Royal LePage, Sussex, for buyers and sellers in the greater Vancouver area like you. So find what you want
A backyard big enough for my own soccer pitch.
at findaproperty.ca.
Whether playing soccer on this continent or football on every other, Umbro is the name worn by top players and teams worldwide. Those same uniforms are available for your team or club at umbro.com. Umbro, proud to be the official supplier of Canada's men's and women's national teams, is celebrating 90 years of expertise in the game. If you want your club to play like the pros, dress them like the pros at umbro.com. Umbro, the heart and soul of football.
Pain or injury slowing you down? Take it to the choice of many top athletes, Expert Physio. Serving the Lower Mainland for over 35 years, the team at Expert Physio is dedicated to individualized care with specialized services such as orthotics, acupuncture, IMS, plus dizziness, pelvic floor, and certified hand therapies. Over 300 physicians referred to Expert Physio last year, and 100% of patients surveyed said they'd choose Expert Physio again. You're in good hands with Expert Physio. Burnaby Heights or at 8 Rinks, expertphysio.ca.
Everything you do irritates me. You leave me little notes on my pillow. Told you 158 times I can't stand little notes on my pillow. We're out of cornflakes. F you. Took me 3 hours to figure out F you was Felix Unger.
Come see The Odd Couple to find out if fussy Felix Unger and sloppy Oscar Madison will see past their differences. The Odd Couple is touring theaters across the Lower Mainland until February 4th. Tickets start from just $29 at artsclub.com. The Odd Couple. That's artsclub.com.
This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on CIL 650. Now broadcasting from the Barber & Co. studios. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking
Great song.
is for a little respect.
Simon's getting a lot of respect with that new haircut that he just got from the good folks over at Barber & Co. Although I was trying to convince Simon all last week to mix it up, do something a little different with that hair. But no. When you go in, do you just say, I need the number 2 buzz?
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
Starting 11 time. You can tweet us your thoughts on the starting 11 on any issues that we get on and talk about on the starting 11 on Twitter at Tyler Green FC. My co-host Simon Fudge, he's also a writer with Goal.com. You can find him at SimonFudge74 on Twitter. And of course, the show is at Soccer Talk 650, and we start the starting 11 at number 1 in Major League Soccer. Renamed the MVP award the Landon Donovan MVP award. Is that a just tribute, Simon?
I think it is. It means that his name will live on in the future years of MLS, and much like when one gets inducted into a Hall of Fame of some kind or has a name or street named after them. I think the honor that was bestowed on by him this week at the MLS Super Draft and convention and all that stuff there in Philadelphia was a very worthy one. And in many ways, what it will do is his name will now be with that trophy, be something that is immortalized. So I think it actually is a very good fit and was the right kind of tribute to Landon Donovan by the league.
Yeah, he's a guy, I would completely agree with you, because he's a guy that did so much for the league through many years and really, took it, took it really to kind of almost like a next level. Been an MVP in the league, so much of the league, and like you said, it's great. The NHL, who obviously here in Vancouver, so many people are familiar with. There's the Rocket Richard, basically, gold trophy. A lot of people want some of the other trophies to be renamed, for Gretzky, et cetera, and I like the idea of having it the Landon Donovan Award. And I think it would probably be a pretty big deal for a lot of people to win that in the near future.
Well, I would think so. And, you think about a certain thing here, like people will remember Joe Sakic's name because there's Joe Sakic Way of Burnaby. So that'll make everyone know that he was from Burnaby. It's sort of a similar kind of...
The half block of Joe Sakic Way that I don't even know if it's only one side of the street or not.
It goes into that gravel end. I know where you're talking about because it's right there around Burnaby Lake Complex.
Yeah, I guess it does go to both sides of the street.
Yeah.
So the soccer fields lead onto it as well. Yeah.
Number 2, who got the better of the Jermaine Defoe / Josie Altidore swap deal, Sunderland or Toronto FC?
You know what? I think that for me it's pretty 50-50. I think they both kind of win in this deal. Josie Altidore, I don't think ever really was able to make a name for himself at Sunderland, really get that, first team, show what he could do, and be a real Premiership star. So I think in Jermaine Defoe, they know what they're going to get. Jermaine Defoe wants to be in England, so I think they win on that aspect. And then for Toronto FC, they win in a sense because they get rid of a Jermaine Defoe that doesn't want to be there. He's taking up a DP spot. You get another DP in there. And you have a guy that people are going to talk about, people are going to take notice of, and people are going to be, I think, excited about the potential of what he could do for Toronto FC. So I think they're both kind of winners in this deal. I don't necessarily think that either one's a loser. Either club's a loser. And it's just up to now the players to really take this to the next level.
I think Toronto FC won the better of this deal because what Josie Altidore gets by coming back to MLS and joining the Reds is a fresh start. And despite the fact that he will have the constant expectations on him as being one of the club's DPs like Michael Bradley and one or two other players that are probably going to be there as well that are in that DP slot, I think it's a good move for him, especially if he can find his AZ Alkmaar form, which was one of the main reasons why he ended up in the Premier League, that good run that he had in Holland. I don't see Defoe doing enough to assure that Sunderland are going to be able to avoid relegation. I'm not saying that they're going to get relegated, but if they do find themselves being able to avoid the drop, it's not going to be because Defoe helped them out. Even though Sunderland fans are far happier to have Defoe over Altidore right now. He's off the pace because he hasn't played since October, and it's a move in which they're expecting immediate impact from him because they need to get things turned around in a hurry. And I just don't think that Defoe is going to live up to what Sunderland fans are hoping he'll be able to do.
All right, number 3 on the starting 11. Whitecaps selected Tim Parker with their first pick in the MLS Super Draft, 13th overall. We will see him where in 2015, Simon?
Mainly in USL Pro, but if he impresses at that level, I see him getting appearances in the Amway Canadian Championship in the summer, and then possibly CONCACAF Champions League games a little later on in the year. When it comes to the MLS games, again, depending on how he is moved on and developed, I see him on the bench, maybe getting the odd appearance, getting his debut, but they'll all probably be substitute appearances for me. I think this season for him is going to see him predominantly locked in as maybe one of the two, depending on what other options there and how good of a preseason he has as being maybe one of the regular USL Pro center backs this season. There's more than enough games there to play, so at this point in time for his career, I think that's where he should be, and I think he should make the most of the opportunity to play all of those games, because there'll be quite a few of them to play.
I think we're going to see him on the bench a few times here and there during the MLS season. The Whitecaps, look at their history, center backs get hurt. So I think we're going to see him on the bench at some point this year with Major League Soccer. But like you said, for the most part, he is going to be a USL Pro player. Get him those minutes, get him the playing time, and then I see him slotting in here and there when there's Champions League and there's Major League Soccer games in close succession. When there's as well, I could definitely see him playing in the Amway Canadian Championship games this year. So we're going to see him with the big club at various times throughout the season, but for the most part, USL Pro.
Number 4, with their second pick, the Whitecaps selected Kay Banjo in the second round. Where will he feature this season?
For me, he will be a USL Pro player for the entire year. I just think that he's that raw talent. Carl Robinson said that, in fact, that he was a raw talent. He's got some things that he'd like to work on, things that he'd like to improve, and I think a year of playing in a professional environment in USL Pro, getting him comfortable, working on those things is where we will see him all year round.
USL Pro for me as well with Kay Banjo, and I think in comparing both him and Tim Parker, far more of a regular, I think, with WSC2 this year. I think he's still a work in progress, and so I think he needs that much more of the time, and so playing at that level and being basically there for much of the season, I think that'll be good for him, because if he knows that that's really where his season's going to be, he can just put his head down and concentrate and do the very best that he can playing in the third tier of the professional game in North America. But you have to also legislate for the fact that he may very well impress, surprise us, and get himself in the reckoning for Amway Canadian Championship and CCL games. But he'd probably be on the bench in those cases for those games. Certainly would be if he was called in for an MLS game and put in the 18. But I actually see him probably being one of the players that gets the most appearances of all the Whitecaps players at USL Pro this season.
And hey, let's not forget the Whitecaps not exactly burning down the other team's goals, nets in terms of scoring a lot of goals. So if he can come in and start performing and doing well and scoring goals, even at the USL Pro level, guaranteed they're going to see him in Major League Soccer, but it's all up to him to see what he can do. Number 5 on the starting 11, Andy O'Brien will not return to the Whitecaps in 2015. How big of a loss will that be to this team?
It's a huge loss on the leadership front, and I thought about this after the news came out on Wednesday from Carl Robinson. Then obviously there were Twitter messages sent out by Andy O'Brien the next day on Thursday. He may be a diminishing asset as a player, but that experience that he has in the locker room was always, for me, one of the big assets with him, and his leadership and his know-how of being in similar environments, big clubs in the past. I think Whitecap supporters should be disappointed that he's not coming back, because there is certainly at this point in time, without knowing if another experienced center back is on his way in, if we'll be returning to talking about Andy O'Brien as about a player that, in many ways, that this team is going to miss this season.
I think the Whitecaps are going to miss him. Leadership, obviously, a huge thing. He worked so well with so many of the youngsters last year, giving them support, being sort of a mentor or even a father figure to a lot of those players. I think that's something that they're definitely going to miss. He's one of those quiet leaders, I think, in terms of you don't necessarily think of him as a leader, but definitely one of those guys that can carry some of the players through tough times and difficult times and really kind of put his arm around them and help them out. I think that's the biggest thing that the Whitecaps are definitely going to miss. The second thing is you look at this team and you've got Kendall Waston, and by all accounts, Kendall Waston should be what we saw down the stretch of last season. He should be that good. But, you know, are we certain that that's what we're going to see? You can never say that with certainty. Then you have a Christian Dean who has looked good, has now with the U.S. National team for a camp there, went on some training stints overseas. Is he going to be a guy that can step right in and be at the level that we saw from an Andy O'Brien last year? Is Tim Parker going to be that player? Probably not. Is Diego Rodriguez going to be the Andy O'Brien in there? It's a question mark. We don't know what we're going to see from him. You know, is he going to be a player that is going to be able to help this team right away and be a guy that can step right onto the field and start? And even if you throw Johnny Leverone into the mix, you know, here's a guy that's been around, hasn't necessarily taken that job away from anybody over the last couple of years and shown that it should be his starting job as a center back. I think there's a lot of question marks that the Whitecaps still need, and it's going to be a big loss, I think, to miss Andy O'Brien this coming season.
Yeah, I think having just the only way to get some assuredness in that department is if the club goes out and gets what we both you and I and most people know as an experienced center back, someone who's maybe very experienced in this league, been proven, that offers that bit of complement beside a Diego Rodriguez, beside a Kendall Waston, because you know, being a center back these days, there's a lot to it, especially at the highest levels, where you have to be very sophisticated, not just in action but also in mindset and decision making, and that doesn't just come by playing there and doing so. You have to garner a lot of experience from that. So I think you raise those questions, and those are my doubts as well, because what you lose with Andy O'Brien is you lose some of that sophistication. And so how do the Whitecaps replace that?
Get into Kia Vancouver for the 8-year celebration. Every new vehicle in stock is on sale. Plus, a bonus, every new vehicle purchase, well, it gets you a free new car buyer's package, complete with free lifetime oil change, car washes, airport parking and shuttle service, and a Kia rewards card. That's Kia Vancouver. It's BC's #1 Kia dealership. Find them at 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon or online at KiaVancouver.com. Simon, one of the reasons why, you know, sometimes it's better to be an addition by subtraction, and I just have a feeling that near the end of the season, Jermaine Defoe, we're back to this one. Jermaine Defoe is going to score more than one goal for Sunderland. That's my prediction, because that's all that Josie Altidore has for Sunderland this season. That's why I think that both teams are winning in this little trade, I guess you could call it.
We wait and see.
All right, we focus on the Canadian national teams, the men, the women, and the U20 men's squad. That's in the second part of the starting 11, and that is next.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on Sea Isle 650.
Not that your stylist at the salon isn't doing a good job, but man, you deserve the big red leather barber chair experience of Barber & Co. Here's how it works. Go to barberandco.ca. Book your appointment at one of the 5 barber shops in Gastown, Yaletown, the Financial District, Cambie at 18th, and now Main Street and 12th Avenue. You can just walk in, too, and get your hair cut, hot shave, buzz cut, fade, or beard trim experience. A great wedding party idea, too. barberandco.ca.
Pain or injury slowing you down? Take it to the choice of many top athletes, Expert Physio. Serving the Lower Mainland for over 35 years, the team at Expert Physio is dedicated to individualized care with specialized services such as orthotics, acupuncture, IMS, plus dizziness, pelvic floor, and certified hand therapies. Over 300 physicians referred to Expert Physio last year, and 100% of patients surveyed said they choose Expert Physio again. You're in good hands with Expert Physio. Burnaby Heights or at 8 Rinks, expertphysio.ca.
The family story begins generations ago on Via Tevere, a street in the heart of Naples, where food was the celebration of life. Today, in East Van, Via Tevere Pizzeria Napoletana honors their family heritage with La Vera Pizza Napoletana, pizza that showcases authentic Neapolitan ingredients and the time-honored tradition of wood-fired cooking. Come experience La Vera Pizza Napoletana, true Neapolitan pizza at Via Tevere Pizzeria, 1190 Victoria Drive, and look for the Via Tevere Neapolitan Express food cart around town.
Right now, Kia Vancouver's 8-year celebration is on. Every in-stock vehicle on sale. And with Kia's half-price payments event, they're paying half your payments on select 2015s, financing only. Plus, you have a chance to win a trip to Las Vegas or Mexico. And new Kia buyers always get free lifetime car washes, oil changes, airport shuttle, and parking. So come join BC's #1 Kia dealership, celebrating 8 successful years of the best deals in town. Kia Vancouver, Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon, and KiaVancouver.com.
Ring, ring. It's that stranger. Again.
Yeah, hi. I'm calling about your truck for sale.
He got your number from the online ad you posted trying to sell your truck. You should have just sold it the easy way with Odessa Richmond. How easy? They guarantee an offer in less than 7 days. How? Their auctions have over 20,000 registered buyers in Canada, plus an international buyer space.
Hello?
So stop answering calls.
Hello?
And make one.
Are you still there?
To Odessa Richmond. See how easy it is at adesarichmond.ca.
Is this the sound of a car being driven by an impaired driver? You don't know. The police don't know. Until this happens. At MAD Canada, we work to stop road crashes caused by impaired driving. And when tragedy strikes, we work to comfort and assist the victims. Support MAD Canada's work because the pain never stops.
Change for the better.
MAD Canada, helping the victim, stopping the crime.
This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on Sea Isle 650. Now broadcasting from the Barber & Co. studios. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
MLS Super Draft is done, or at least, I don't, do they call the Super Draft for 3 and 4? I don't know, but those are coming up, and Simon's got the details on when those are going to take place.
They do, and it's basically
that's a change because they never used to.
It was a supplemental draft, those third and fourth rounds, or 3 extra rounds. It is the Super Draft, rounds 3 and 4. It goes Tuesday. It is actually done as a conference call with all the clubs. Now, the Whitecaps will be quite busy in this. They had 3 third-round picks at 54, 58, and 61 overall, and then 2 fourth-round picks at 73 and 75. Keep an eye out for basically players they will pick that will most likely be the very backbone of their inaugural USL Pro squad.
Still to come on the program today, we'll chat with David Sandals of Expert Physio about injuries and just some of the differences in injuries in terms of one player has a dislocated shoulder, opts for surgery, gone 3 months. Another player, same injury, opts not for surgery because he doesn't need to, back in 6 weeks. So we'll talk to David Sandals from Expert Physio about that in the second half of the program. at 11 p.m. We'll also hear from Whitecaps head coach Carl Robinson as our man in Philadelphia, Jonathan Tannenwald, caught up with Carl Robinson. So we'll hear that interview in the second half of the program. Plus, first-round draft pick Tim Parker coming up at 11:15. But right now we continue with the starting 11, and we switch gears from the Caps to the national team of the Canadian variety. And Simon, you've got number 6 on the list.
That's right. Despite a costly late defeat to El Salvador on Thursday, can Canada still qualify for the Under-20 World Cup?
Well, mathematically, they can still qualify for the U20 World Cup, and they, by all accounts, have the ability to do so. But there's just something right now about this team that I just do not have the confidence that they are going to go out and be able to qualify for the U20 World Cup. There's just something about them that doesn't look like they are playing with that same confidence that they were in those friendlies in December when they went over to Europe and were able to beat some very good teams. So to me, this is a team that I think is just unfortunately going to fall short. And I thought that they would be able to go into this tournament and be able to pick up a spot. Right now, not looking so good, and I don't think that they can do it.
I think they can, but they're now in a situation where their backs are up against the wall. They must win their last 2 games. They play Cuba on Monday and then Honduras next Thursday. Must win both of those, and the Honduras game is now looking like the one that's going to be the key if they're going to have a chance of being in for the play-in game. They have to finish second or third to be able to play in that, and that's basically a one-off game with a crossover on from the other group to make this Under-20 World Cup. The 2 group winners automatically will qualify. But the big thing for me is they have to defend better. The first and third goals that El Salvador scored in that game on Thursday were very, very poor concessions from Canada. And despite the fact that we saw some nice goals from Hansen Bokai and Kian Sfroz to get them back to level terms on 2 occasions, their defending has got to be far, far better than what we've seen. And it was a bit alarming to me post-match that the comments of Rob Gale were about how they were playing early in the day and the heat affected them there in Jamaica and all that kind of thing. And if you're starting to kind of look for excuses a little bit, that might sort of make the suggestion that the team that you've got maybe not as strong as you think, or trying to just deflect from what was seen by many people, and that was not a very good performance against El Salvador.
All right, we continue on now with the starting 11 with number 7, and one of those players at the U20 World Cup for Canada is Kyle Larin, who was just drafted by Orlando City as the number 1 draft pick at the MLS Super Draft. And Simon, will Larin shine in Major League Soccer, or will he be a bust?
Time will tell. I do think he will have a good rookie season with Orlando City, and I think he will be a player that many a Canada supporter will be keeping a close eye on, because they're going to be hoping that he does actually have quite a bit of success with his new team, because we all know that Benito Floro's squad needs goal scorers. It effectively doesn't have any right now, to say the least, or at least anyone that we can confidently say is going to be able to get the job done at that level. So we look to someone like Kyle Larin as being, well, can he be the one that solves that problem? I do think he'll do some good things this year. I don't think he'll necessarily stand out. And as for his entire MLS career, it's very difficult at this point in time to judge it. Having seen his performances in this Under-20 World Cup qualifying, I think he may still have a lot of work to do.
You know what? I think that he's going to. I think he's going to do pretty well in Major League Soccer, especially with Orlando City. But an expansion side, not necessarily. It's not going to be, I don't think, a glory year for them. But I think he's going to attribute himself fairly well this season. And the other thing that I look at is a guy like Kaká, who he's going to be playing with, will likely get a lot of attention in this in this Orlando City team. And I think that might create just a little bit more space for Laren to possibly do some fun things. And so I think he's, like you said, time's going to tell, but I think he might shine in Major League Soccer.
Number 8, Canada lost 2-1 to Iceland on Friday, and that's the senior men's team down in Florida. Did you see the result as a negative or as a positive?
This is a tough one, I look at the loss in, I look at it a little bit of both, and I know that's sort of the safe answer. But I think the negative, obviously, is people look at it and say, oh, Canada lost yet again. Oh, when are we going to be able to turn the corner? Canada lost yet again. But things that I look at as a positive, and maybe I'm the cup half full, is that to me it really showed that there are some players that should not be called into this team. And for me, that's a positive. That shows me that these guys aren't going to be ready, and these guys shouldn't be players that are going to be included in rosters a little bit later on, or their positions should not be in those spots. I also look at it as, and Benito Floro said this, but, a lot of these players just starting their seasons, or not even just starting their season, training camp in a couple weeks for these players. So they're just kind of getting back into shape, playing against a lot of guys that are sort of in mid-season form. So to only lose 2-1, probably a pretty good thing, but again, still, it's that same old problem that Canada has. Who's going to score the goals? And it's something that they just still haven't figured out yet.
Based on the horribly poor concession of Iceland's goals in the first half, I think Friday's performance was a definite negative. The fact, and I know the under-20 players, probably a good number of them would have been involved in this camp if they weren't involved in trying to qualify for the under-20 World Cup in Jamaica right now. But nonetheless, the fact that too many what I call old and past players were used again by Benito Floro, it just remains difficult for me to take this men's national team of ours seriously, to be perfectly honest. People still haven't got their head around, for me, about the general lack of quality of the Canadian player, particularly a lot of these senior players. They just cannot do it at this level. And I'm getting tired of having to repeat that same point again and again and again. And it's funny that you would make the point that, there's guys that we have probably played themselves out of being selected again. Well, in one or two cases, I would have thought that had been happening for a very, very long time. And yet every time I see a squad announced for a camp or for a friendly or whatnot, the players that I thought would never be involved, they're still there. And it makes me wonder why they're still there. And so as a supporter, my interest just starts to drop and drop and drop, because I know those players can't get it done. They've been proven that they can't get it done. But yet they're still involved. And it's very sad for me, and I think I'm not the only one, to have the level of apathy, which is almost unmeasured when thinking of Canada. But it's just one of those things that we need Benito Floro has got to start working the youth policy and bringing the younger players through, and I don't think he's done a good enough job at this point of getting younger faster for me.
Can't believe you're ripping FC Unattached.
Well,
Sands Club SC.
It doesn't just be, my complaints don't just begin and end with players that are with SC Unattached. It's with, those that, for me, don't have the basic skills to play the game, and they're still getting called up to play for our national team. They're playing international football with their lack of skill set. We can point to a number of things where it's just farcical, and it really is, and yet it's still continuing.
Right now, get into Kia Vancouver for the 8-year celebration. Every new vehicle in stock is on sale, plus a bonus. Every new vehicle purchase will receive free new car buyer's package complete with lifetime free oil changes, car washes, airport parking, and shuttle service, and a Kia Rewards card. That's Kia Vancouver. It's BC's #1 Kia dealership. Find them at 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon or online at kiavancouver.com. We continue on with the starting 11, and we continue with the Canadian men's national team because number 9 is the fact that Canada will start its qualifying campaign for the World Cup in 2018 in Russia versus either Dominica or the British Virgin Islands. That's in June. Is that a good or a bad thing, Simon?
It's not a great thing, but it is what it is. Canada have only have themselves to blame for having to go the longer road to reach the 2018 World Cup. It's because they haven't been able to make the hex in the last, I think, 3 or 4 cycles. So their ranking and their levels have dropped down, so they have to go the longer route. So, but it's about overcoming the fact that they've got to play those extra games, and it's about trying to use those extra games to their advantage. Use it to shape the squad a little bit more with the core players that are going to be involved there right through this upcoming World Cup cycle, and also about trying to become a little bit more competitive in CONCACAF and on the international stage. You know, it looks long. It looks like, yeah, you're starting all the way back there with these minnows, but in many ways you've almost pretty much put yourself there. So try and turn it around and work it to your advantage and shape the way the team wants to play by using those games. They may not be against great competition, but that still doesn't mean you can't get something out of it as you're trying to rebuild things.
I look at it as a positive and a good thing because of the reasons that you just mentioned. The fact that you're going to get these extra games against a team that you should be able to beat and move forward on in the competition, and it gives you that opportunity to let those players that are the ones that you are going to move forward with and use those players and build that squad and give those guys a little bit of confidence in going forward by beating one of these teams. And if they can't beat either Dominica or the British Virgin Islands, then they don't even deserve to be in that next set. They should be playing to actually get into that next round. So for me, I think it's a good thing, and I look at it as a good thing because I think there's so many things that they can build on from that in order to move forward. And I think it'll give them a good dose of reality that says, hey, you're not as good as you all think that you're as good as, and it's time to start realizing that.
Exactly. But it's about the types of players that are going to be involved there from the start. And we've seen some good indications to a point with some of the friendlies late last year, but there are still too many old heads there that just cannot be involved in it going forward. That's the big difference.
Well, it's the chicken or the egg, though. A lot of, veteran guys know what it's all about to play, but then a lot of the young guys, they're not getting regular minutes either with their clubs. So, what do you go with? It's
go younger players because they're better players. That's why. You don't go with the experienced
But if they were
heads
better
'cause
players, shouldn't they be playing?
The younger players have more potential of actually being far better when they get to their late 20s and early 30s than the current late 20s, early 30s lot that we have.
I agree with you, but it's that chicken or the egg. Do you play with guys veterans that are playing regular minutes, or do you go with guys that aren't playing their club team at all and not getting any action? How good are they going to be then when that's at? But the potential is there.
Yep.
And at the same time, those older guys, they haven't been able to get it done, so maybe it is time to turn things around.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one, though. It's a tough one to figure out. You need that right mix, I think.
Number 10, Tesho Akindele is in camp with the U.S. men's national team. During the CONCACAF Gold Cup this summer, will Akindele play for Canada, the United States, or his club side FC Dallas?
You know what? I'm going to say FC Dallas. I think he's going to, I think he's going to play for the U.S. and I don't think any doubt now that he's in camp there that he's decided on the U.S. But I think he's going to end up playing for FC Dallas.
If he starts the MLS season well, I think Klinsmann might bring him in. He'll be with the Americans. But Klinsmann will overlook him in his Gold Cup squad if he doesn't, I think, have a very good start, because that's pretty much going to be what's going to get players in to play in that tournament for the U.S., I think, especially the MLS players. And if that's the case, he'll stay with FC Dallas for sure. He's still very much a raw talent at this point. There's still a lot of polishing that needs to be done, regardless of what international side he decides to choose for. The option of him playing with Canada is now out and done, finished.
Starting 11 now, and the final one is number 11. How encouraged are you by Canada's winning of the Bao-An Cup tournament in China ahead of this summer's Women's World Cup? When it was just called the Four Nations Cup. So much easier to pronounce.
Yeah. I'm encouraged, but I'm not getting carried away. The tournament has proven to be a very good positive building block, I think. But supporters' expectations, I think, still should be measured. Canada is ranked number 9 in the world, and it's important people understand they're going to be going into this Women's World Cup. Yes, they're hosts, but they're effectively an underdog or / a dark horse in this tournament this summer. The teams to watch out for are Germany, France, and Japan. They're the favorites. Germany is the top-ranked country in the world. They are there for a reason. I think they will lift the trophy at the end of it in July, for me. And so that's what I think people need to remember. But it's a good indication that things are coming together, and that John Herdman is getting a bit of a sense of particularly how he wants to play, because I think the biggest thing for him is getting that tactical organization as down pat as possible, because it's going to need to be they have to almost be the most tactically or the best tactically organized team in this tournament to go far.
Well, if we know anything, and we've spoken about it with Hard journalist Harji Johal, who has joined us on the program, who covers women's soccer on numerous occasions, and she's basically the person to talk to when you want to talk women's soccer here in Canada. And their result at this tournament shows me that they have what it takes to go out and win their group and be the top team in their group. And we look how it's laid out for them through that group stage, and it gets me excited. It gets me excited to see what they can do. And I agree with you. I think that Germany is probably going to be the team at the end lifting that trophy. But I do like what I see from Canada in terms of how they can match up in their group, win that group, and then it's really, for them, it looks like there's a nice ride that they can make to move forward and get further in that tournament, because anything can happen. And it gets me a little bit excited to know that they're going to be able to go out and beat a China and beat some other teams that are in their group, and knowing that, hey, now I do believe that they can win that group, their group, and move forward. And I'm very excited to see what they can do.
I feel the same way. The one game for me that concerns me a little bit is their final group game in Montreal against the Dutch, who, this is a Women's World Cup that you cannot measure as to any previous World Cups, for the fact that you've got some countries here that have never played at this level, but they bring a lot to the table as being themselves dark horses. And the likes of England, the Dutch, just to name two, Spain, I think, as well. So it's how they finish up with this group. They win that group, yeah, I think you have every right to be excited. And for the tournament as a whole, that would be one of the best things that could happen. And I think it's going to be an exciting tournament all overall. All the teams that come will contribute immensely to it. But certainly, I think it'll be definitely well set up, and we can easily say that it'll be a successful tournament if Canada wins the group, and we know they're going to get far in the tournament.
As we continue our Defoe Altidore, who won? Jermaine Defoe gets taken down, hacked down. The ball falls to Sebastian Larson and curls home the equalizer. Now they went on to lose the game, but already doing a little bit more than Josie Altidore.
Sunderland need a lot more than that, I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be dicey times for them and for the teams at the bottom end of the EPL table, I can assure you of that.
Our Barber poll today, brought to you by barberandco.ca. Do you like the alleged new Whitecaps jersey? And some interesting comments all coming out on Twitter. People weighing in. Love the gradient design. That's from Jay Lamb. If they win MLS Cup, then everyone will love that jersey. That's from FinCom. Hap Mariner voted it's just okay. Think it's a little boring. It needs a little more pizzazz, more oomph, more zip. Bad Gnomes YVR. I like it. Certainly more interesting than hashtag thin blue stripes or hashtag diagonal thin blue stripes. 604 Chris Deal hates it. Some guys saying won't be buying it because beer stains on white jerseys. So really, it's a mixed bag, but not a lot of people love it. From the Backline, a local podcast about soccer, kind of reminds me of CF America, Club America uniform from '94. If you know Jorge Mendoza, every jersey at some point reminds him of a Mexican jersey.
It's the soccer that he grew up with, so it's probably his initial reference point. You can't really blame him for that, I'm sure.
Oscar A.M. Elander saying, looks like someone washed it with some dark color clothes, but it's still better than the early revolutionary change from horizontal lines to diagonal lines. And Kyle Braun saying, has a fade ever looked good on a jersey? Team Canada fan, ugly. It's not winning over a lot of people, if that is in fact the case. 30% saying terrible, almost 30%, 28% saying it's okay, 20% saying it's bad. The like it or love it is putting those two together is only at about 16%. So it's and about 3.5% are saying that they're a little undecided so far on that jersey. Do you like it, Simon?
It's okay. It looks a little bit strange, and it just makes me feel that it's just a style that Adidas has decided it wants to go with, and has sort of imposed it on the Whitecaps a bit.
That wraps the starting 11. A quick break. Back with the latest news, notes, and rumors from around the globe next.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on CIL 650.
Right now, Kia Vancouver's 8-year celebration is on. Every in-stock vehicle on sale. And with Kia's half-price payments event, they're paying half your payments on select 2015s, financing only. Plus, you have a chance to win a trip to Las Vegas or Mexico. And new Kia buyers always get free lifetime car washes, oil changes, airport shuttle, and parking. So come join BC's #1 Kia dealership, celebrating 8 successful years of the best deals in town. Kia Vancouver, Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon, and KiaVancouver.com.
What do you want?
A balcony so high it looks down into soccer matches at BC Place.
A pub I can walk to with a dozen big screens.
Kevin O'Toole has created findaproperty.ca to help you find it. Designed to be simply straightforward, findaproperty.ca is an invaluable tool. That's Kevin O'Toole, Roy LePage, Sussex, for buyers and sellers in the greater Vancouver area like you. So find what you want
A backyard big enough for my own soccer pitch.
at findaproperty.ca.
The Straight Razor Shave, a leading man classic. Steady hand coaxing the rugged face back to smoothness. This nearly lost art has found revival at Barber & Co. Hot towels, straight edge blade, and your face. It's an experience that reminds you you're alive. You're a man in the company of history's finest men. Start at barberandco.ca. Pick your barber shop in Yaletown, Gastown, the Financial District, Cambiet 18th, and now Main Street and 12th Avenue. And relax into the big leather chair for the shave of your life.
If your company is looking to hire, go to vancouverjobshop.ca. Type tracking code HIRE 2015 and your first job posting is just $99. New customers only, limited time offer. Is your company hiring? Get your first job posting on vancouverjobshop.ca for only $99. Your ad runs for 7 days. Let us show you the awesome power of vancouverjobshop.ca. Hire your next employee today. Type tracking code HIRE 2015 and your first job posting is just $99 for 7 days at vancouverjobshop.ca.
With a trip on the horizon, make sure to pack your personality with UBU Earth travel wear from Fashion Edition 14 Plus. Canadian made with all natural fibers. UBU gets your need to be comfortable. This season's must-have, soft bamboo leggings. A perfect travel made. The wrinkles just fall right out. Exciting styles that embrace your shape and curves. Plus sizes with freedom, movement, and attitude. Celebrate your curves while you travel with UBU Earth from Fashion Edition 14 Plus in Vancouver, Langley, and South Surrey.
This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on CIL 650. Now broadcasting from the Barber & Co. studios. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
Oh, I could hide neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never
Is this the Monkees version, Greg?
What's its ring?
You would be correct.
And
I loved watching the Monkees when I was a kid. I think it was on at like 3:30 in the afternoon. I'd come home from school, watch the Monkees, G.I. Joe, Transformers.
Did you like
Three's
Last Train to
Company?
Clarksville?
Yeah, Monkees were great. And then, you know, occasionally they would make an appearance on the 60s Batman show as well, I think. There's some crossover,
That's right, I remember that.
the crossover episodes.
Yeah.
Headlines from around the globe in a second, but first our England scoreboard from Simon.
7 games to end the English Premier League. It was Aston Villa 0, Liverpool 2. Burnley falling 3-2 to Crystal Palace, who were 2-0 down at Turf Moor. It was Leicester City 0, Stoke City 1. Newcastle falling 2-1 at home to high-flying Southampton, who are third now. QPR 0, Manchester United 2. Swansea City falling 5-0 at home to Chelsea, who were just superb today. And then finally, Spurs beating Sunderland by 2-1. That's where Jermaine Defoe made his debut for the Mackems since making his move back from TFC. 2 games in tomorrow, West Ham United against Hull, and Manchester City hosting Arsenal, and then 1 game on Monday, Everton against West Bromwich Albion.
All right, let's check the latest headlines from around the globe. It's taking a look at the news, notes, and rumors from around the globe, brought to you by Steve Nash Sports Clubs. That's snclubs.com. And Simon, some competitions have started around the world, and very, very, very quickly you've got some of those highlights.
Well, there were Group A games that played in the Africa Cup of Nations. The host Equatorial Guinea drawing 1-1 with Congo. Burkina Faso losing 2-0 at home, or 2-0 to Gabon. And Group B will go tomorrow, and then Group C and D the following days. Asian Cup is coming up to the end of the group stages in Australia. South Korea looking good in Group A. China leading group in Group B. UAE and Iran C. And Japan are strong in D. So, yeah, they're looking very, very good at this moment in time.
All right, get into Kia Vancouver. It's the 8-year celebration. Visit them online at KiaVancouver.com, and, of course, find them at 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon. Coming up, the substitutes make their way onto the program. We'll get into the poll question a little bit more. Also hear from Whitecaps head coach Carl Robinson. Tim Parker, that's the Caps' first-round draft pick. That's at 11:15. All that in the second half of the program, but David Sandals talks injuries in just a moment.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on CIL 650.
Not that your stylist at the salon isn't doing a good job, but man, you deserve the big red leather barber chair experience of Barber & Co. Here's how it works. Go to barberandco.ca. Book your appointment at one of the 5 barber shops in Gastown, Yaletown, the Financial District, Cambie at 18th, and now Main Street and 12th Avenue. You can just walk in, too, and get your hair cut, hot shave, buzz cut, fade, or beard trim experience. A great wedding party idea, too. barberandco.ca.
What do you want?
A balcony so high it looks down into soccer matches at BC Place.
A pub I can walk to with a dozen big screens.
Kevin O'Toole has created findaproperty.ca to help you find it. Designed to be simply straightforward, findaproperty.ca is an invaluable tool. That's Kevin O'Toole, Roy LePage, Sussex, for buyers and sellers in the greater Vancouver area like you. So find what you want
A backyard big enough for my own soccer pitch.
at findaproperty.ca.
Right now, Kia Vancouver's 8-year celebration is on. Every in-stock vehicle on sale. And with Kia's half-price payments event, they're paying half your payments on select 2015s, financing only. Plus, you have a chance to win a trip to Las Vegas or Mexico. And new Kia buyers always get free lifetime car washes, oil changes, airport shuttle, and parking. So come join BC's #1 Kia dealership, celebrating 8 successful years of the best deals in town. Kia Vancouver, Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon, and KiaVancouver.com.
This is the sound of a decision.
All rise.
The choice to drink alcohol and then drive a car. If you kill someone while driving impaired, you should face a long term in jail. That's a deterrent. But too many get off easy. That's a disgrace. At Mad Canada, we believe the victims of impaired driving deserve respect. Offenders deserve jail.
Change for the better.
Mad Canada, helping the victim stop